I guess the first thing that comes to mind is that that was a nice ending, or is it like we arrived at a moment that I think felt like a musical conclusion, and at the same time I think neither one of us, because often not often, but sometimes when there's improvisation, there could be like, oh, no, after you, no, like it's sort of the end kind of goes on a little bit past its expiry date, whereas this point I think like we kind of hit an ending and we kind of both sort of held, and it was like, okay, that's kind of done. And we kind of finished. Like, how do you approach endings in improv context, or in this context, like how did that ending feel? Like what ends?
Well, I think the worst kind of ending is just getting bored and stopping.
Right. Okay.
And then whatever
Quitting.
happens will eventually just roll out and
Yeah.
die. I think that we all know those ends. Sometimes we don't always take those ends, but we know when they're there. They just happen. And I think for me the balance is about how much I want to carry on, balanced against how much I want the end to work well. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Like you could play against the sort of the effectiveness of the ending as a gesture that's a different gesture.
You could, yes.
Yeah.
But
is that what you mean, or you mean something
no,
different?
but it's like the music always has potential. It always has a future. Mm-hmm. And we could carry on. On every occasion we end, we could carry on. But it's that sort of choice. No, I don't need to exploit that potential because I hear this moment of where a period finishes, as it were. Like you come to the end of a narrative. The story is told.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like with that as like a metaphor in like kind of writing context, like it can be also like a gesture to have like those kind of like run-on sentence, like one page is like a single sentence, and that's in and of itself like a kind of a gesture where the communication is secondary to the meaning, or like the clarity is secondary to the communication, or something like that. Like where by doing this, it makes something else more difficult, but for the benefit of a different thing, which is what in this case is trying to be, in the context of that metaphor, is being kind of put across. So like, I know that's not what you were saying musically, but like I guess like just riffing off that, like the punctuation thing, like having a period and having a versus a comma versus a whatever.
But that actually, I often think of it as a process of chapters.
Okay.
So in an improv, sometimes they are very complete, coherent, but those tend to be quite short, I'd suggest. So I like the idea of you end a chapter and then you carry on. You end a chapter and you carry on. And those chapters can be of a variety of lengths. They don't have to be, all the same, roughly in dimension or sound or anything. But I just like that idea because it gives you that sense of future, of consequence, as it were. So you've made something, you've stated that part, now you're going to move on to the other part. So you don't have to have this sort of idea of a kind of miraculous fluency that takes you through. I mean, if only it would take you through everything, and sometimes it does. But mostly, I think this kind of work is like chapters. It's like linked stories, linked occasions, linked events.
How I guess conscious of that are you while playing, or not? How conscious of you are that in the moment? I guess maybe because you'd be silent as well. Like I don't mean necessarily play, but like
this links to the idea of ends. It's sort of like the idea of chapters implies an ending of some kind. So I'm listening for these different moments of cohesion, you might say, the final one at the end of the piece, but through it, these page-turning moments, where you reach the end of something and you begin something else, and there is a sort of seamless process that joins them, but they are still kind of different shapes in a kind of lumpy line, if you like. I don't know. Discrete hills somehow are, Yeah,
because with that, like it's something that I feel when playing with someone who either I've played with before or is very experienced, or both. Like they're the comfort with that meta level of improv becomes more fluid. So like sometimes, particularly like if I'm playing with someone I've never played before, which is not this circumstance, but in that circumstance, not only is there like a musical improvisation, there's like a meta layer of like getting to know each other and how one behaves and how one relates and how one takes. So there's like a kind of a couple layers of things going on. Whereas when playing with someone where that's more established, it allows for like a musical layer, like the moments are happening. And then this, for me, the way that I can kind of think about it is this meta layer of becomes more apparent. And you, as an improviser, you can kind of go up in, sort of like material level. So like we could be like note by note, like having ideas. And then that could be like, we can have a section to section idea, and we can have a like beginning to end kind of idea. But then independent of time, there's like a behavioral level that I feel can be more like danced in, because I think if there isn't an awareness there, like if subtext doesn't exist, then there's no subtext. Like if we're not communicating on that level, there's nothing there. So it can be very enjoyable to play where there is subtext, like and supertext or whatever, like where we're like kind of engaging in those other things. Which for me, I did feel some of that here. Like I felt that like I knew it would sound good, just because like that would be that. But then like I knew there'd be some kind of twists and turns, and there would be some kind of things happening that I kind of just knew would happen just because of experience, which is a nice place to be improvising, And that's not to say that there isn't going to be novelty or newness or surprise, because that's independent of that. But like I guess the strata of it is, I find interesting when present, I guess, is not so much a question, more a ranty tangent.
Well, it works. I suppose is the short kind of summation of it all. I think that I think it's fascinating playing with strangers, and I loved that part of The Noise Upstairs. But at the same time, it's also beautiful playing with someone whose voice and the sort of shapes they might make and so on. I think that's a lovely sense of, it gives you a security as a player, I think. So it makes you more confident, because they're your friend. You're talking to your friend, sort of thing.
Does that manifest? Yeah. Does that manifest more concretely in like just a better grounding and like confidence, or does it manifest more in that like you're then able to engage more riskily? Like how does that?
I think definitely the latter.
Yeah, okay.
I think that it's not like that knowledge is a kind of foreclosing thing. The friendship or the previous experience of improv with someone. It doesn't in any way limit what could happen. So it's more of an emotional kind of place, I think, for me. That there are people I love to play with. I feel good with them and warm with them, and I feel encompassed by their music. And other people, not so much, Same for all of us.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of... that's what I mean by familiarity, as it were. It's like, I have no idea what you're going to play, and I'm glad. Do you know what I mean? But I love to play with you because I can trust the process completely, So... it's that sort of relationship, which isn't a concrete sound or a set of concrete choices. It's more the freedom to securely make those guesses.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is what you're doing. You're guessing all the time, suggesting, and so on and so forth. But to do that sort of nakedly, to feel brave and courageous in it, it's really much, much easier with people you trust and know, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it among strangers. I do sometimes, but
Yeah.
I think that's a different thing.
Yeah.
I think improvisation isn't in any way diminished by familiarity.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I guess it's kind of like a tangent question on that is, how have you felt a musically satisfying improvisational experience with someone who you don't get on with?
Yeah,
like where there's a personal conflict, but that manifests.
Yeah.
Into
Well, not so much a personal conflict. It's more you may not particularly like the approach of someone you're playing with, and then they can surprise you by being pulled in as much as you are to a process, and you can get a huge amount from them. I mean, I'll mention no names, but this has happened at the Noise Upstairs to me quite a lot. I think that's the beautiful thing. You have to be generous enough to see the opportunities in everybody's sound. And take it. You don't tell someone to talk differently. When they're talking to you, no, I don't like that voice. Can you use another one? It's like, so you just have to kind of muck in. So I can't really remember the times. I can remember maybe a couple of times I just thought, oh, fuck this. I can't do this. And faked it. But it's so rare, I think, where you can't find something in sound, it's not about expertise, it's about sounds.
Yeah. I mean, that starts getting to a different kind of worms, but as things scale up. So for example,
expertise.
Well, like two people, there's an affordance of silence. I cannot play for a bit and you can play for a bit. But if we both stop playing for an extended period of time, unless we're both very intensely performing as a thing, that becomes something different. Whereas if you have 5-10 people, a lot more people coming in and out can be a bit more fluid thing, but that becomes a whole separate scaling of improv as it were. But
well, I think I'm playing in a quintet now, and I think that that sort of self-awareness, you might say, in the process is with the whole five. That there are these moments of beautiful. And constantly these moments of beautiful synchronicity and confluence and coincidence that somehow also makes things spark. It's beautiful process playing in that band with Robert. So I think scale ultimately is going to get you, but I think by repetition, even great big bands like Sun Ra's orchestra, must be 24 of them, but it seems to work.
I mean, there'll be a specific musical kind of.
They do have structures. I think, but I very much enjoy structure. I like structure that can be kind of eaten away by improv, or smothered in improv, or kind of carried by improv. I like structure a great deal. I love songs, tunes. I think that there are some marvelous tunes in the world,
For sure. I mean, I very much like arc and temporal, structure is a thing. In both in a predetermined thing, where we have some kind of skeletal thing and then we play with it, or in the explicitly trying to improvise a structure. Obviously time unfolds as time unfolds, and there will always be a structure that happens regardless of what intentionality, but if we consciously have some kind of even just to take a very simplistic example, if we were going to improvise an ABA, that could arrive and that could be quite meaningful in a way that whether we determine that or not. But that was all to agree that I'm a big fan of structure in the predetermined and also intuitively determined manner. Because
Yes.
ultimately, like all of this happens, at least for the time being, in time, and like as time unfolds, we don't really know, like whether something was pre-composed or not. Obviously, we can hear a certain level of depth and complexity, but time ultimately unfolds at the same rate, regardless of what
Yeah.
happened before it.
Yeah.
For the time being, we'll see like how, how that develops.
Yeah. Well, I find I was telling you earlier that I've brought the poems back into the music much more over the last 4 years. I think that if you introduce language, you can introduce an almost colourless thing musically, but it still structures.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how I'm trying to use the poems. Sometimes I'm setting them and creating songs, but other times I'm just bringing them and saying this is what we're going to play. And this is with Faith singing, so she has to improvise a melody. And they just do it, it's beautiful. And maybe with some small structural instructions to stop us going on all day, And they have it, the words give them, like it or not, like they may not, I don't know if everyone likes the words, I don't know, they don't say, but they're there. And once they've read them, they can't get them out of their minds. So we did a piece called Hobgoblin, and I got, it's just a weird little tune, but I looked up Hobgoblin, firstly in the Oxford Dictionary, and then in the Thesaurus. And it comes under elves in the Thesaurus, and there's this big section of hobgoblin, demon, blah, 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 all the different words. And in the Oxford, it says some of those same words, and it ends with bugbear. So I did a scan of these two entries in the two books and made an image and gave them to all the people who were about to play Hobgoblin. And I have no idea what it did, but the fact is they couldn't get round it. It actually happened. They read it. But what happened was people got interested by all these obscure words that came up that none of us had heard of for hobgoblins. So it was kind of nice. So it was a way of saying this is the content of the piece somehow.
It's almost, I guess, communicating meaning without context yet, because it's like sets are going to be set.
Well, the words always mean.
Yeah, obviously, but like,
but they don't mean in the way a score means.
Sound. Yeah.
Because they are sounds as well. They are music. But bringing them without predetermined notes, I think, is kind of really interesting way of creating structure inside improv, because you sort of are carrying this word meaning through somehow, through the sounds that you make, like it or not. So it's almost like you cradle this meaning with the sound you make. It doesn't necessarily, you don't need even to understand it to be able to pass it through. So I'm finding the sort of meeting of words and music really fascinating these days. Really cool. I can't improvise with words. I just can't, freestyle at all. Unless it's complete nonsense.
As a little non sequitur, I think it's like a Love Supreme, like one of the Coltrane ones, where like towards the end, where he was, really got really religious, and I think it's the main melody. I think he wanted to be spoken, and then in the recording he doesn't. Like it's just not there. And I think it was something in an interview where he sort of came to that moment. He kind of walked up to the mic and then just like the words didn't come out, and it was just like the tune was still there because I think someone else was playing, but like the words were in the music, and it was not the time to say them. It was like a kind of a nice poetic kind of thing, which is, stuck with me. Shall we play a bit more?
Yes, that would be lovely. I'll reassemble the space.
If you'd like to support the making of these videos, please join our Patreon. The link is in the description below. Thanks for watching.